We're going to be reviewing a bad CV. So first of all, this needs to go. Personal details, you don't need to list that, it should just begin. Already what is wrong here? Curriculum vitae, this should not be in capital letters. So we're going to delete that. What should be in capital letters? What should be in capital letters is your name. So if your name is John Banda, don't be shy. That should be your name in bold letters, don't let it be too big. And this is of course in brown, that should not be the case. You can just make it black, maybe reduce the size a bit, that seems fine. CV. Next, the address. So some people say you shouldn't need to mention an address because they don't send posts nowadays, but that is wrong. Your address should be there because in some jobs that I've been in, you find that the HR is checking where you live because if you live far away and they need you to be able to leave the office at late hours, or they need to make sure that you're reliable because you live close by. Some people's CVs have been thrown away because they just live too far and can't risk that person going home late at night or by bus or something. So your address is necessary to be there. So if it's house number, whatever, maybe you can omit the house number. You can just say chalala, whatever street it is, and you can put the postcode if that's something you think is needed. You don't need to put the word address here, you're just wasting words and making it look like there's too much going on the page, so you can just list it like that. Same with your phone number, so you don't need to put this, just put the number as it is. I'm going to put that in black. This looks strange, I'm just going to put that. I don't know how houses are numbered in China, so I'm just going to, yes, okay. The thing is the email, so like I said, you don't need to label that and just put it like that. The email needs to be professional. You can't put cool guy 007 as the email that they're supposed to get back to you on. That's very unprofessional. So make sure the email address that you give them is a professional one. If you have such email as cool guy, please make a new email address. If your name is John Banda, let it be John Banda. Doesn't matter whether it's Gmail, Yahoo, please let it be John Banda. We don't want cool guy working for us. That is what they will be saying. Again, listing what it is, this should not be there if that is the case. And then all of this, let me tell you, is very much unnecessary. I've seen people being denied jobs in HR because one, the age. I've heard people say, the applicant is too young, the applicant is too old, we don't want them controlling us, we don't want children in the office. So this already is a no. If they want to know how old you are, they will call you, but that's very unnecessary. Nationality, this also very unnecessary. You may not even know, maybe because you are a foreigner, they won't pick you, or because you never know, that's unnecessary. Unless the position they ask you to tell, maybe the position is very sensitive, they need to know whether you've been Zambian, because I have noticed that some job applications, they will tell you that you need to be a Zambian, but it's unnecessary. Gender as well, section affected. Unnecessary. Marital status, I've heard this one. I think I've seen a CV where someone said that they're pregnant. I don't know, that was very strange. So such things are issues, because of course it's not something we would want in the workplace, but it happens. Some ladies are discriminated against. So marital status, we don't need to know if you're available so that we get ready knowing who's coming, are they attractive or not. Maybe that's my the one, but that's unnecessary. However, if the position requires you to be if they ask for your marriage, it depends again on the position. So maybe the position requires you to travel frequently, or they need you to be with them all the time, and they know that you're single, they know that you're married or something. It could help you get the position if they know you're single, for example. But again, it's best left out. This should not be the determining factor. Your skills and qualifications should get you in, and then when they have further questions, that's when they even call you and ask, oh, by the way, this is what the job entails, and so we need to know how flexible are you. So I definitely do not think that is needed. Okay, then this paragraph, we don't even know what it is. So all sections in your CV need to be labeled for what they are. The mistake here they made is they didn't state that it's a personal profile statement. We need to know what is happening as you read the CV at all points. I'm going to put that in black, okay? And then as you read this is very uninteresting. It doesn't bring out anything specific that the employer will say, okay, I want to choose this person. There are no good words that stand out, so maybe an example of that, as I typed out earlier, would be this: motivated, adaptable, responsible. The moment they just read those first 3 words already, they are interested in your CV. So that's something we try to do if you include a personal profile statement. I personally don't think it's needed because you're going to speak about that in your cover letter, but if that's something you want to include, that's fine. Okay, here, they titled it, that's fine, but they needed to start with the most recent one, so 1991. This is irrelevant, you need to start with the most recent one first. So the most recent one was maybe 2009 to 2013, that's what you put there, you don't need that underlined. If this was university, you state the university, or whatever it is, and then make sure you mention your qualification. If it's bachelor in whatever it is, you can mention that. And you can even say some of the modules that you did, some of the courses that you did, so that's fine. Something else that is irrelevant is outdated things from a long time ago. Why are we saying where you went to nursery school, where you went to primary, secondary school? Maybe the people you bullied in primary school, they'll know you, they'll remember your name, and they'll see, some of these things are very irrelevant, and they can even affect your application without you realizing. At least start from, college. Some people at high school is fine. You start at high school where you went, and then you put your university. So if we did this, for example, I mentioned putting in the modules that you needed. Sometimes putting certain results. So for example, those who graduate with a merit, you can put graduated with a merit and so forth. And you think those grades don't matter. It depends on the field you are applying for. In certain jobs, they will look at your results. They will. You attach them with your CV, but I think highlighting it as well. We're not looking at the exact grade 12, 6 points. I think it's rare. But yeah, your university results. Sorry, I said this was recent. Let's put it. Someone who maybe just graduated. Let's say 2021. So you can see they put the most recent. The CV I used is old, but at that time this was the most recent. They put the university. Here, first class, as we know, we do whether it was a merit or distinction. For example, relevant modules. I personally think it's unnecessary, but depending on what you're applying for. Not really your percentage. Well, not really percentages, but if it's an A, if it's a B, for example. And it's not all the modules. Say maybe your course is something related to marketing, and there's accounts in it. something related to marketing, and you were told to take a law course on the side because you need to know about the law. You don't need to put the law course in there amongst the modules. Just put the relevant one, the marketing courses that you did, because sometimes in first year they make you do all kind. That looks fine, but the way they presented it, everything is so squeezed together, so you can't even focus on what is listed here. Otherwise, the time frame they put it there, the position that you're in they put it there, as well as the company. It is some of the tasks that they did in that job position. They can bullet point some of them. We're not asking for long paragraphs, but just what they did. Now the key here is anyone who is trying to apply for the same position trying to apply for will put the tasks, maybe even done similar tasks in just different companies. The trick is to put achievements along with those tasks, what you achieved by doing that task. If that increased, if that affected the company in any way, how you boosted the company in any way, achievements that came along with those tasks, the skills that you applied when you did those tasks. That's why you need to mention the tasks here. Otherwise, anyone else can put the tasks that they did. Another thing is you need to put relevant employment history. Some things like this one, housekeeper, unnecessary if the job you're applying for is not to be a housekeeper. Some things as packer, you're packing things, unnecessary if the job you're applying for, that's very unnecessary. This as well, unnecessary. Unless there's a huge gap in your CV and they'll wonder what were you doing during that time when you weren't working. It is unnecessary if it doesn't. If this is one IT thing, for example, you can leave this. Hobbies. There's no need to mention irrelevant hobbies. So some things, skiing, hiking, some things are relevant if you're applying to IT, maybe even mention. Let's just not be irrelevant. We know which hobbies are relevant. But do not mention your religion unless it depends on what you're applying for. If you're applying for a position in a church, yes, you can mention this, but there's no need. Who knows who is going to employ you? Maybe they are, you never know, maybe you go to a religion they don't like, or something that can affect you later. Let them find out when they've employed you. 5 days into the job, oh, which church do you go to? Not putting it on your CV, as well as your political stance. There's no need for you to put which political party you follow. Some of those things are quite unnecessary. Also, I've reduced some of the hobbies here. Too many hobbies. They'll wonder when we have time to focus on your job if you are doing all these things. Yeah? Playing football, what? Too many hobbies. Here, Mr. Evan. Evan who? Evan Sinchamba. You need to have the full name. Also the position, what they were they an assistant, were they the sales, what? And then the contact information you give, please make sure you ask your references. They can contact them, you can give the email. All this is a lot of information. A good example would be this. So whether it's Mr. and Mrs., the full name, sales manager, the company, obviously you'd have asked for the address, the phone number, and the email. So this is for someone who has had experience. Should be at least 1 to 2 pages. We don't need a whole folder just for your CV.